Welcome to Wuji Mountain Musings. And this is Wuji Mountain Musings number 569. I'm reading from the Chi Effect book. And let's see what we have for today. Enjoy agenda-less time. Savor the space between the moments. That's where the juice is anyway. In this infinite dreaming, there are boundless gems for those who wake enough to gather and share them. Agenda-less time. What does that mean to you? Don't we all have an agenda? Don't we all have a pressing set of schedules that we have to get things done? And we have our calendars on our phone. We have our reminders. We're constantly pushed. People tell us what we have to do all the time. We externally reference our schedule, and our timeline is defined by the world. And now you can say, well, of course, Francesco, this is part of life. We have our responsibilities. But do you really? What is your real responsibility? In the concept of agenda-less time, you've got to come back to this sense of who you are. If you are defined by your work, by your schedule, by your mounting set of responsibilities, guess how you're defined? You're defined by those schedules and those responsibilities. So we end up creating these identities around our work, our identities around our tasks, our identities around our ability to do so much in a day, and then we boast about it. Think about how you might automatically talk to your friends about how busy you were, and how much you got done in a day, or how much you couldn't get done because you were so busy. And think what that does to your subconscious, how that drives a message deep into your subconscious about your worth. So your worth now is defined on how many things you do in your agenda, how full your calendar is, how many people you've talked to, how many things you got done, and maybe even how much money you made. All these metrics chip away at our authenticity and our sovereignty, because instead of being defined by this inner part of us, we're defined by the outer part of us. And you may think, well, that's just the way this world is. Well, it's not to say that we can't get a lot of things done in a day. It's actually a very laudable thing to do, is to be responsible and to do what you say you can do and do what will help other people. But when that agenda defines who you are, when that schedule starts to create the identity around you and to other people, you create a cage. You create a trap for yourself, and it will be a tricky trap to get out of, because on the days you don't get enough done, you'll start to judge yourself. And others might say, oh, you're slacking off today, or you didn't get as much done as you wanted. I'm sorry about that. You see all the languaging that we have around agendas and about tasks and about the list of things that we have to be responsible for and what we manage to get done in a day. So I think we need to revisit that. And part of this Wuji Mountain musing is for us to really start to look at our life and say, are you really accomplishing things simply by checking them off your list? When I look down at my schedule, it's 2:00, I got the next thing to do. It's 2:30, I have the next thing to do. Or are you completing a task in its deepest, authentic way? Are you doing what you said you would do, which was to complete that task, or are you simply checking it off your list? That's a tough one to face. People say, well, of course, I checked it off. It must have been done. Did you do it? Did you fully accomplish what you set out to do? I think many times we don't pose that inquiry deep enough to say, did I have that meeting with that person at 2:00 in the deepest way I could have? Did it end in a way that fit my expectations? Did my heart get engaged in that meeting? Or did I leave it dangling? Okay, you finished the task at 2:30. You got that thing done, but did you do it in a rush? Did you do it with frustration? Did you have a layer of anxiety around it? Even though you accomplished it, even though you might have made your deliverable, Did it carry a vibration of incompleteness because you only looked at it from the material, superficial side? It's an important thing to look at, especially in busy schedules. It's also important to look at for somebody who maybe is in your senior years or maybe in your younger years and you don't have that full of a schedule yet, and you might judge yourself. Why am I not as busy? Why don't I have as many meetings to go to? Why am I not getting so much accomplished? Well, again, we're looking at it on a materialistic level. And when we can start looking at things on a more energetic level, we'll call it a spiritual level, those agendas now have one main purpose, is to have you feel a sense of completion. Not only the task completion, but you as a participant, just like we talk about in quantum physics and quantum biology, you are the observer. You are observing your body and environment engaged in a task. Did you complete it in the most heart-centered way? Was there a sense of heart resonance to it? Did you complete that task in a way where you felt really good about it? And all of a sudden you might find out doing less and feeling deeper and better about what you do is a much more enriching accomplishment. And you can look down at your task list and say, okay, maybe I didn't do as many as I am used to doing. I didn't get as many meetings in. I didn't get as many things done. But each one I did, I left with a sense of completion. I entered it from a center of heart resonance, and I felt much better about it. And how do you think other people that you engage with will feel? They'll feel the same way. And I learn as the years go on that being agendaless doesn't mean I have less accomplishments or I'm less efficient. But what happens is that what I do, I'm more present about. I'm not letting the timeline define me, but even though I have a task at 2 o'clock, we'll say, I can be completely present in that moment and give myself to it, all of myself. I'm not worrying about the meeting I had at 1:30 or the meeting I'll have at 2:30, but I can be completely present at that 2 o'clock meeting. That's when you release your agenda. That's when your calendar becomes a free space to be present in. Yes, we engage in life that has a sequential set of time, and we have to meet people at certain time. That's part of the game of this life. In space-time, this is what we do in 3D. Yet, you can approach each task and each interaction with more heart-centered, heart resonance, and I think you'll find a whole different flow of your life takes place, and you'll feel a lot better about yourself, and not only from a feeling sense, but of a true sense of who you are as an expression of infinite consciousness engaging in this human experience. Enjoy. Peace.